The bar pulsed with heavy bass and low conversations, a place where no one asked questions and everyone hid something. Neon lights flickered across worn wooden tables, and the scent of smoke and expensive liquor hung thick in the air. Elena stepped inside hesitantly, her breath uneven, her coat pulled tightly around her as if it could shield her from everything chasing her. She didn't belong here. That much was obvious. Her eyes darted toward the exit, calculating, always alert. But she had nowhere else to go. Her phone trembled in her hand as she pressed it to her ear. Non capisci, they know, she whispered in Italian, her voice barely audible over the music. She turned slightly, lowering her tone even more. The ledger, it's gone. I had to take it. If I didn't, they would have killed me. Her words broke at the edges, fear seeping through despite her effort to stay composed. At the far end of the bar, a man sat in silence, a glass of whiskey untouched in his hand. His sharp gaze lifted the moment he heard her language. Italian. Clear. Desperate. He listened without moving, every word settling into place like pieces of a puzzle. Stolen ledger. Betrayal. A girl running out of time. 5 minutes passed, but it was enough. He set his glass down with quiet finality, eyes still locked on her trembling figure. Then he spoke, his voice low but absolute. Don't let her leave. The moment her call ended, Elena felt it, the shift in the air. Conversations didn't stop, the music didn't fade, yet something invisible had tightened around her. She turned slightly and noticed them. 2 men near the entrance. Another by the bar. Watching. Not casually, intentionally. Her pulse spiked. She moved quickly, slipping her phone into her pocket and heading toward the exit, but one of them stepped forward, blocking her path with a calm, almost polite smile that didn't reach his eyes. You're not leaving, he said quietly. I think I am, she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. Before she could step around him, a firm hand caught her arm, not rough, but unyielding. Panic surged. Let go of me, she snapped, struggling, but it only drew more attention she didn't want. Within seconds, she was surrounded. Not dragged, not thrown, escorted. Controlled. Like they had done this 100 times before. They led her through a narrow hallway behind the bar, away from the noise, into silence. Each step made her chest tighter. This was it. She had run straight into another nightmare. A heavy door opened, and she was pushed gently inside. The room was dim, elegant, and suffocatingly calm. At the center, behind a polished desk, he sat. The man from the bar. He didn't stand. Didn't speak right away. Just watched her, eyes sharp, unreadable. Elena swallowed hard, fear rising in her throat. This man already knew something. She could feel it. The silence stretched, thick and deliberate, as if he were testing how long she could endure it. Elena stood near the door, resisting the urge to move, to speak, to run. His eyes never left her, studying every flicker of fear she tried to hide. Sit, he finally said. It wasn't loud, but it carried authority that made refusal feel impossible. She hesitated, then slowly lowered herself into the chair across from him, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Up close, he was even more intimidating. Calm, composed, dangerous in a way that didn't need to be proven. You were speaking Italian, he said, leaning back slightly. About a ledger. About people who want you dead. Elena's breath caught. I don't know what you're talking about. A faint, almost amused smile touched his lips. You walked into my bar, spoke my language, and told your entire story out loud. His gaze hardened. Don't insult me by lying. Her mind raced. Deny everything, or risk everything. I was just... She started, but her voice faltered under his stare. He leaned forward now, resting his elbows on the desk. Who are you running from? The question hung between them like a loaded weapon. Elena looked away, her pulse pounding in her ears. She knew this moment would decide everything. Trust him, or face whatever waited outside those doors. Slowly, Her defenses began to crack. "They're going to kill me," she whispered. He didn't react immediately. No shock, no sympathy, just a quiet, calculating stillness, as if her fear was something to be measured rather than felt. Elena watched his face, searching for any hint of mercy, but found none. Only control. "Who is they?" he asked. She shook her head quickly. "You don't want to know." A faint scoff left him as he leaned back in his chair. "You walked into my territory, brought trouble with you, and you think I don't want to know?" His tone sharpened slightly. "You've already made it my business." Elena's fingers tightened together. She could still refuse. She could stay silent. But she remembered the men who had been watching her, the threats whispered over the phone, the blood she had already seen. Silence wouldn't save her anymore. "They're not just anyone," she said, her voice unsteady. "They're powerful. Organized. If they find me here—" She trailed off, fear choking the rest of her words. His gaze didn't waver. "Names." Her heart pounded harder. Saying it out loud would make it real. It would drag him into something far bigger than this room. But maybe he was already in it. "They're from an Italian family," she finally admitted. "And I took something from them. Something they'll kill to get back." A pause settled between them, heavier than before. Instead of anger, something else flickered in his eyes, interest. "Good," he said quietly. Elena blinked, confused. "Good?" He rose slowly from his chair, the movement deliberate, controlled. Elena's breath caught as he walked around the desk, each step measured like he had already decided something she didn't yet understand. He stopped a few feet in front of her, close enough that she could feel the weight of his presence. "Good," he repeated, his voice lower now. "Because that means you're valuable." The words sent a chill down her spine. Valuable didn't mean safe. It meant useful. "I'm not part of this," Elena said quickly, standing up as well. "I didn't choose any of it. I just wanted to survive." He studied her face, searching for something, truth, perhaps. Or weakness. "Survival," he said, almost thoughtfully. "Then you made the right decision coming here." Her brows furrowed. "I didn't come here for you." "No," he agreed. "But you're here now." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The tension between them shifted, no longer just fear. It was something more uncertain, more dangerous. "You have two options," he continued. "You walk out that door, and whatever is hunting you will find you within hours." He tilted his head slightly. "Or you stay." Elena's heart pounded. "Stay? With you?" "With my protection," he corrected. She let out a shaky breath, trying to steady herself. "And what do you get in return?" A faint, knowing smile appeared on his lips. "The truth," he said. Elena stared at him, her thoughts colliding in a storm of fear and instinct. The room felt smaller now, the walls closing in as the weight of his offer settled over her. Protection, from him, or because of him? She couldn't tell which was more dangerous. "And if I refuse?" she asked, her voice quieter than before. He didn't hesitate. "Then you walk out," he said simply. "And I don't stop what comes next." The honesty in his tone unsettled her more than any threat could. He wasn't trying to scare her, he was stating a fact. Her chest rose and fell unevenly as she turned slightly, glancing toward the door. Freedom was right there. Just a few steps. But she knew what waited beyond it. Men with guns, unanswered calls, a death sentence she couldn't outrun. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, forcing herself to think. Every instinct told her not to trust him. But every memory of the past few days told her she didn't have a choice. When she opened her eyes again, something had shifted. "Fine," she said, her voice steadier now. "I stay." His gaze sharpened, as if confirming her decision carried more weight than she realized. "But this doesn't mean I trust you," she added quickly. A faint smirk touched his lips. "It doesn't have to." He turned toward the door and gave a quiet nod. Within seconds it opened. Prepare a room, he ordered. She's not leaving,